Have you ever had one of those mornings where you wake up, stare at the ceiling, and think, how did the years go by so fast? Maybe your joints are a little stiffer than they used to be, the newspaper feels heavier, or the memories of your youth flicker in and out like a favorite old movie. It's a familiar feeling, time marching on. But here's the thing, just because we're getting older doesn't mean we're done living. In fact, what if I told you that something as simple as gratitude, yes, just being thankful, could actually help you live longer? Now, I know that might sound a bit surprising. We usually think of vitamins, medications, maybe even exercise routines when we talk about living longer. But more and more research is showing that what goes on in our minds, especially how we view the world, can have a powerful effect on how our bodies age. Gratitude isn't just good manners or a polite habit. It's like medicine for the soul, and it turns out it's also good for your heart, your immune system, and even your sleep. Today, we're going to have a gentle, down-to-earth chat about how gratitude, just that one simple word, can become a quiet, powerful force in your life. Not just for peace of mind, but for your health, your energy, and yes, possibly even the number of candles on your birthday cake. Let's start by getting real. Life after 60 isn't always easy. Sometimes we feel overlooked or like the world's moving a little too fast. Friends move away. Health becomes a bigger part of the conversation than we'd like. And yet, even in the middle of all that change, there's still so much beauty left, if we slow down enough to see it. That's where gratitude comes in. Think of it as a kind of lens. When you practice gratitude, you're not pretending life is perfect. You're just choosing to focus on what's still good, even if it's small. That first sip of hot coffee in the morning, the smile from a neighbor, a bird tapping on your window, a grandchild's drawing hanging crookedly on the fridge. These little moments might not make the front page, but they do make a difference. Now, here's the part that's really fascinating. Scientists have found that people who regularly practice gratitude actually have lower blood pressure. Their hearts beat in a more stable rhythm. They sleep better at night, and they even experience fewer aches and pains. Why? Because gratitude lowers stress. And chronic stress, as you probably know, is one of the biggest enemies of a long and healthy life. Think about the last time you were really stressed. Maybe it was a phone call with bad news, a doctor's appointment, or just a day when everything seemed to go wrong. When we're stressed, our bodies go into a kind of emergency mode. Our hearts race. Our muscles tense. Over time, if that stress doesn't go away, it wears us down, physically and emotionally. But gratitude gently pulls the body in the opposite direction. When you take even just a minute to pause and think of something you're thankful for, your body responds. Your heart rate slows. Your breathing deepens. It's like a warm hug from the inside out. And the more often you do it, the more your body learns to stay in that calmer, healthier state. Here's a little story I love. There was a man in his 70s who had just gone through a tough few years. He lost his wife. He had heart surgery, and he retired from the job that gave him purpose. One day, on a whim, he started keeping a gratitude journal, just a tiny notebook where he'd write down 3 things he was thankful for before bed. At first, it was hard. He didn't feel grateful. He felt lonely, but he stuck with it. Some days, he'd write things like, "I saw a cardinal on the fence," or "My neighbor waved at me today." Simple, small things. And over time, something shifted. He started sleeping better. His blood pressure went down. And most importantly, his outlook changed. He didn't feel as weighed down by grief. He found himself smiling again. Now, I'm not saying a notebook will fix everything. But what I am saying is that gratitude isn't just a mental trick. It physically changes how your body responds to the world. And you don't need fancy tools or hours of time to do it. It can be as simple as taking 30 seconds in the morning to whisper to yourself, "I'm thankful I woke up today," or thinking about one good thing that happened before you fall asleep. Even better, gratitude creates a kind of ripple effect. When you're thankful, you tend to be more positive. And when you're more positive, you're more likely to connect with others, move your body, eat better, and stay engaged with life. All of those things, community, movement, nourishment, are keys to longevity. So, gratitude is like the root of a tree that feeds everything else. It's also a beautiful way to look back and honor everything you've already lived through. You've made it through storms, heartaches, losses, and long nights. And still, here you are. That's something to be proud of. Practicing gratitude lets you say to yourself, yes, life has been hard sometimes, but look at what I've survived. Look at the love I've known. Look at the laughter, the meals, the songs, the people, the sunsets. And if you're watching this and thinking, but I don't feel very grateful right now, that's okay too. Gratitude is not about pretending. It's about gently shifting your focus, one moment at a time. Maybe today, the only thing you feel grateful for is the roof over your head, or the way your tea feels warm in your hands. That's enough. That's where you start. Now that we've laid the foundation of why gratitude matters and how it can calm the body, let's keep going. Because gratitude isn't just about feelings. It actually affects your brain and your physical health in ways that go deeper than most people realize. You see, when you practice gratitude regularly, you're not just lifting your mood, you're actually rewiring your brain. It's something called neuroplasticity, which is just a fancy word for your brain's ability to change and adapt, even as you get older. And the more often you focus on the good, the more your brain starts to look for the good. It becomes a habit, like brushing your teeth or turning off the lights before bed. There was a study a while back that looked at older adults who kept gratitude journals or spent a few minutes each day reflecting on what they were thankful for. The researchers found that over time, these people had increased activity in the part of the brain linked to decision-making and emotional regulation. In simple terms, they were better at staying calm, making thoughtful choices, and bouncing back from setbacks. And as we age, that kind of mental resilience is gold. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Gratitude doesn't just impact your mind. It supports your immune system, too. I know that might sound like a bit of a stretch at first. But stick with me. When you're constantly stressed or anxious, your body releases chemicals that keep your immune system on high alert. That might be helpful for fighting off a cold once in a while. But if that stress becomes constant, your body ends up exhausted, like a smoke alarm that never shuts off. Over time, this weakens your defenses and makes it harder for your body to fight off illness. On the flip side, people who practice gratitude tend to have lower levels of inflammation. Their immune systems aren't overworked. They heal faster. They even tend to recover more smoothly from surgeries and illnesses. Imagine that. Something as simple as feeling thankful can help your body protect itself better. It's like giving your immune system a warm cup of tea and saying, "You've got this." And let's talk about sleep for a moment, because I know how tricky that can get with age. One of the most common complaints I hear from people over 60 is, "I just don't sleep like I used to." You might find yourself waking up at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, your mind running in circles. Sometimes it's worry. Sometimes it's just habit. But gratitude can help with that too. When you end your day reflecting on things that went right, even tiny things, your mind settles. You're less likely to toss and turn over things you can't control, and more likely to fall asleep with a sense of calm. I like to think of it as tucking your thoughts into bed before you tuck yourself in. Try this tonight. Before you close your eyes, think of 3 things, just 3, that made your day a little better. Maybe the sun was shining. Maybe your knees didn't ache quite as much. Maybe your child or grandchild called. Say them out loud if you like. You might be surprised how quickly this small act shifts the way you sleep. Now, I want to touch on something a little deeper, and that's the emotional weight many of us carry later in life. It's not uncommon to look back with some regret, or feel the sting of losses that still feel fresh. Maybe there are relationships that didn't turn out how we hoped, or people we miss every single day. Gratitude doesn't erase that pain, but it can soften it. It reminds us of what we did have, even if it didn't last forever. There's a kind of healing that happens when we look back with gratitude, instead of resentment. Instead of saying, "Why did this happen to me?" we start to say, "I'm glad I got to experience that all." That shift might seem small, but emotionally it's massive. It's the difference between carrying a heavy bag of grief and holding a cherished memory close to your heart. Even the simple act of writing a thank you note, whether you send it or not, can lighten that emotional load. Maybe it's to someone from long ago, a teacher, a friend, a sibling. Maybe it's to yourself. Thanking yourself for all the times you showed up, for all the quiet battles you fought without anyone even noticing. That's a powerful form of gratitude. 2, the kind that says, I'm proud of how far I've come. And if you're thinking, well, that all sounds lovely, but I'm not sure where to start, let me assure you, gratitude isn't about perfection. You don't need to write long letters or keep a perfect journal. You can simply pause during your day and say to yourself, that was nice. That's gratitude. You can smile at a blooming flower, laugh at a memory, appreciate the taste of something sweet, or feel thankful that your feet carried you across the room. That's gratitude. Even watching this video, taking a moment to care about your health and your happiness, that's an act of self-love. And I'm grateful you're here. The truth is, living longer isn't just about adding years. It's about adding quality to those years. And gratitude brings quality. It brings warmth to the colder days, color to quieter ones, and peace to the moments that used to feel heavy. It makes you more present, more open, more connected to life. And when you're connected to life, your body knows it's worth holding on a little longer. Let's keep walking down this path together, because gratitude, as powerful as it is just the beginning. There's even more it can do for your body, your relationships, and your sense of purpose in the world. Because when gratitude becomes a regular part of your life, it doesn't just make your days feel lighter, also changes how you connect with other people. And those connections, they can be just as important for your health as eating right or staying active. Think about it. When was the last time you really felt seen, heard, appreciated? Those moments, no matter how small, stick with us. They feed our soul, and gratitude helps us create more of them. Because when we feel thankful, we're more likely to express it. We call that person we've been meaning to check on. We hold the door a little longer. We smile a little more. And the amazing thing is, those little expressions of kindness ripple outward. They create warmth not just in us, but in the people around us. Now, science has actually looked at this, too. Older adults who feel more gratitude report stronger social bonds and a greater sense of belonging. And when you feel connected, you're less likely to feel lonely, which, believe it or not, is a huge factor in longevity. Loneliness can be as harmful to your body as smoking or obesity. But gratitude helps guard against that. It reminds you that you matter, that your presence makes a difference, that you're not alone in this world. Even something as simple as picking up the phone and say, thank you, can open a door that's been closed for years. Maybe there's someone in your life you haven't spoken to in a while, not because of anger, but because life just carried you in different directions. A call like that doesn't have to be long or dramatic. A simple, I was thinking about you today, and I'm grateful for the time we had, can bring peace. It can mend something inside you. And that kind of emotional peace, that's good for your heart, literally. Studies show that practicing gratitude regularly lowers blood pressure and supports heart health. It slows down your resting heart rate, helps reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, and improves your overall cardiovascular function. It's as if your body says, thank you for feeling safe. I can relax now. And when your heart feels safe, it doesn't have to work so hard. Let's not forget the impact gratitude has on your motivation. 2, when you're in a state of gratitude, you're more likely to take better care of yourself. You're more inclined to eat a little healthier, to go for that short walk, to stick with that physical therapy session, or to stay consistent with your medications. It's like a domino effect. Once you start to see your life through a lens of appreciation, you naturally want to preserve it. There's a kind of quiet dignity in that. In choosing to care for your body not out of fear, but out of love, out of thankfulness for all it's carried you through. That gratitude becomes a reason, not just a reaction. It becomes a why behind the habits. And as we age, having a why is everything. It gives us direction. It gives us strength. And then there's the question of meaning. A lot of people, once they retire or their kids are grown, find themselves asking, what's my purpose now? It's an honest and deeply human question. Gratitude doesn't hand you a neat answer, but it does guide you toward the things that matter. When you start noticing the small joys, when you pause to appreciate a kind word, a beautiful sky, a warm drink. You begin to realize that your purpose doesn't have to be grand. It can be found in presence, in kindness, in sharing your story with someone who needs to hear it. You've lived through so much. You've seen the world change in ways that younger generations can only read about. You've survived loss, embraced love, overcome struggle, and kept going when others might have given up. That wisdom, that history, it's something to be grateful for. And sharing that gratitude out loud can give others a sense of hope, especially those who are still finding their way. I once spoke with a woman in her 70s who told me that she started writing little notes to herself every morning. Not big, dramatic things. Just a few lines about what she was grateful for that day. Her morning coffee, the way her dog wagged its tail, a memory that floated up when she wasn't expecting it. She kept those notes in a jar, and on the hard days, she'd pull one out and read it. She said it reminded her that life hadn't passed her by, that it was still happening, still offering her small gifts. That's the beauty of gratitude. It brings you back into the present. It helps you see that your life, even now, is full of value, that you're still growing, still loving, still here. So whether you're sitting alone with a quiet cup of tea, walking through your neighborhood, flipping through old photo albums, or simply breathing in the morning air, there's always something to notice, always something to be thankful for. And the more you practice, the easier it gets. It becomes second nature. And in return, your body and mind thank you right back. They give you more energy, more calm, more years. Even if the world feels uncertain, gratitude gives you something solid to stand on. It says, yes, things are changing, but I'm still grateful. It doesn't ignore the hard stuff. It simply chooses not to let the hard stuff win. So today I want to invite you, just gently, to try it. Pause for a moment. Look around. Find something, anything, that brings a flicker of warmth to your heart. Let it sit there. Let it remind you that you're alive, that you're still writing your story. Let's keep moving forward together, with open eyes, open hearts, and a little more gratitude each day, because you are still writing your story. And the beautiful thing about gratitude is that it keeps your pen moving, even when the page feels a little heavy. Every breath you take, every smile you give, every act of kindness you receive, these are the little sentences in the story of your life. Gratitude helps you recognize them. It helps you feel them more deeply. And the more you lean into that feeling, the more life offers you to be thankful for. Now, here's something that often surprises people. Gratitude isn't just a nice emotion. It's also an incredibly resilient one. In fact, researchers have found that people who practice gratitude recover more quickly from stress, trauma, and even illness. Why? Because gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. And in doing that, it strengthens your ability to bounce back. Let's face it, aging comes with its fair share of challenges. A few more aches, a little more time needed to get moving in the morning, maybe a few faces you miss seeing as often. These moments can be heavy. They're real, but gratitude doesn't deny them. It helps you carry them. It softens them with perspective. It reminds you that even on the hardest days, there's still something good to hold on to. And you know what? That kind of emotional strength, what some call emotional immunity, has real physical effects. Your immune system becomes stronger. Your inflammation levels decrease. You sleep better and more deeply. You're less likely to experience chronic stress, which means your entire body, from your brain to your bones, gets a break, a chance to repair, restore, and keep going. That's not just some feel-good talk. That's your biology responding to your mindset. Your cells are listening. Your heart is listening. And when you practice gratitude, you're sending them a message that says, we're safe, we're okay, let's keep going. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to change your whole routine. You don't even need a perfect day to get started. All you need is a few quiet minutes. Maybe in the morning when the world is just waking up, or before bed when things are still. You can say your thanks out loud, write them in a journal, whisper them in prayer, or simply think them with intention. You could say something like, I'm thankful for the way the sun came through the window this morning. Or, I'm grateful my hand still let me hold a cup of tea. or even, I'm thankful I made it through another day. It doesn't have to be profound. It just has to be real. The more honest it is, the more powerful it becomes. And if you ever feel silly or unsure doing it, that's okay too. Just remember, this isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about tuning your heart back to what matters, to what's still here, to the parts of life that are quietly cheering you on. Over time, you'll begin to notice how gratitude starts to change your inner landscape. You might feel lighter, more grounded, more forgiving with others and with yourself. You might find it easier to smile or to let small frustrations roll off your back. You might even start to see opportunities where you used to see obstacles. And slowly, almost without realizing it, your body will start responding to that shift. And you know what? Other people will feel it, too. Gratitude has a way of creating warmth in your relationships. It draws people in. It helps heal old misunderstandings. It creates moments of connection that leave both people feeling fuller. When you thank someone genuinely, it's like saying, I see you, you matter. And those are some of the most healing words a person can hear. Maybe you've noticed this in your own life. Maybe someone once thanked you for something small, a ride, a call, a kind word, and it stuck with you longer than you expected. That feeling, that glow, that's the power of gratitude. And you have the ability to pass it on every single day. So if you're watching this and thinking, I don't know if it's too late for me to change, let me just say it's never too late. Not at 60, not at 70, not at 80 or beyond. As long as you're here, you have the power to grow, to shift, to deepen your joy and extend your health. Gratitude is one of the simplest ways to do it. And it's something that no one can take away from you. It's free. It's within reach. And it has the power to literally change your brain, your body, and your life. That's not an exaggeration. That's hope backed by science. And more importantly, by your lived experience. You've made it this far. Through every storm, every season, every celebration. That alone is worth honoring. So today, I want to thank you. Thank you for showing up for yourself and for this little moment we're sharing. Thank you for still choosing to grow, for being open, for being willing to see life with new eyes. And if this message touched you, if something in it sparked even the smallest bit of reflection, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments. What are you grateful for today? What moments make your heart feel full? Whether it's something simple or something deep, your story might inspire someone else who needs to hear it. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We have so many more heartwarming, health-boosting conversations ahead. You deserve to feel empowered, informed, and inspired every step of the way. Remember, your life has value. Your days still hold magic. And the more you practice gratitude, the more beauty you'll begin to notice, not just in the world, but in yourself. Here's to living your best life at any age, with a heart full of thanks and years still waiting to be filled with joy. Take care of yourself. And don't forget to look for the little blessings. They're always there, just waiting to be noticed.